Okay, hi, I'm Jesper Bo from TubeTech, and to show you first one of the three of the oldest TubeTech units we have, starting up with the passive program equalizer PE1C. The PE1C was, as a matter of fact, in the beginning it was named PE1A, and the whole history for TubeTech started with that we, as a matter of fact, owned 5 old Pultecs. And John Peters, who designs TubeTech at that point, was working as a maintenance engineer at the National Danish Radio and checking out lots of gear. And he really liked the way these old Pultecs were built, a passive, high-quality EQ with high-quality transformers. So the first TubeTech was not really meant to be for production, it was just for fun. He made a copy of the Pultec. And then somebody found out that would be interesting to make manufacturing out of that, and then he started doing it, and that was in 1985, and that continued, and the quality of these kind of vintage circuits still prove that there's still a lot of use for that, and the quality still remains. There's a need of this EQ. After that, he designed the Cr1B. That was his own design, but based on the principle of having an optical element doing the compression from the LA2A electronics compressor. And after that came the mic pre. I can run through the controls first of the PE1C. It's kind of divided into 3 sections. A little special, but this EQ was meant to be like a mastering EQ in the old days when you had to control the high frequencies for whatever you had to cut on a lacquer, or you had to cut on an optical soundtrack for a movie. So the first section is the high frequency attenuation section. So you have one knob that can attenuate on a shelving function for 3 frequencies, 5, 10 and 20 kilohertz. Then the next section is these 3 knobs where you have the possibility of boosting a lot of different frequencies here, going from 1 kilohertz up to 16 kilohertz. And then you have a variable bandwidth going from broad to sharp. Very simple, but very useful. Like you work on a vocal, like the 5 kilohertz boost like this, always brings the vocal really up front and really good sounding. And you can make, because it's passive and it's very clean, the maximum boost is 18 dB, and you can kind of, if you boost 10 kilohertz, 18 dB, it still sounds very nice, clean and transparent. And then the more mysterious part of the EQ, that's the low frequency part, which is these 2 knobs and the frequency selector going from 20 to 100 hertz. The strange thing is that there's 2 knobs, because then you can attenuate on this one and you can boost on this one, and it's a shelving function. So if you use one of them and leave the other one, then you just have a shelving boost or a kind of a shelving cut. But the strange thing is, if you do like this, then you would expect this to be nothing, because they would kind of do the opposite thing. But what happens is that the circuit is a little special, so the frequencies are not exactly the same for these 2 knobs. So when you do like this, then you will have a boost that goes a little higher than the 60 hertz. It as a matter of fact boosts around 80 hertz, and then you will have an additional cut at around 200 hertz. And the sound of this is extremely useful for kind of removing mud in the low mid-range frequencies and then adding that low-end boost. It works very well for electric guitars. For bass drum, it's very nice sounding. There's something musical about the way this works. So that's basically the functions of the PE1C. The Cr1 Big Compressor is very straightforward. It's an optical element doing the compression. So if you have this selector that selects, that's 3 possibilities, a fixed function that is just the optical element, just the way the optical element works. And then there's a manual where you have manual control over attack and release, and then there's a combination of both of these. And then it's very simple. You have a ratio control and you have a threshold. You have a switch for the meter, so the input, the output, or the compression. And then you have a makeup gain here. And that is so simple that it's, there's this joke. There's a Danish engineer that in an interview said, just put all the knobs on 12, it will sound perfect always. It's a joke, but it's not completely wrong. that setting and then a little tweaking, then you will have very nice compression. This is very famous for doing vocal compression. And one of the beauties of this is that you can have up to 10-15 dB compression and you have no side effects. The signal is still very clean and usable. So for vocals, bass, guitars, whatever, this compressor is extremely useful and very easy to use. And compared to a lot of other compressors, this doesn't get muddy or dull when it does heavy compression. So I think that must be the reason for it being so popular, especially in America, that it does its job without any side effects. It can be working really hard, but the signal is still very clean and nice.